Imagine driving through Ireland's countryside as the busy roads slowly disappear behind you. The tour buses thin out, the souvenir shops vanish, and suddenly you find yourself in places where time seems to move differently. Small harbors where fishermen still bring in the morning catch, villages where church bells echo across green hills, and quiet coastal towns where the loudest sound might be waves rolling against ancient cliffs. While millions of travelers visit Ireland every year for famous landmarks like the Cliffs of Moher or scenic routes like the Ring of Kerry, the real magic of the country often lives far away from those crowded destinations. Hidden across the island are tiny off-grid towns where authentic Irish culture still thrives. Some have only a few hundred residents, yet they offer historic castles, centuries-old churches, quiet forests, and pubs where traditional music fills the air. And once you discover them, you may realize these hidden places capture the heart of Ireland far better than any crowded attraction ever could. One of the most charming of these places is the tiny harbor village of Ballyvaughan, sitting quietly along the shores of Galway Bay. With a population of just a few hundred residents, the town feels wonderfully peaceful compared with Ireland's busier coastal destinations. Ballyvaughan's story stretches back centuries and began around the site of Ballyvaughan Castle, which once stood here for nearly 300 years. Walking through the village today feels like stepping into another era. Rustic buildings line the small streets, and traces of older infrastructure remain scattered throughout the town, including historic stone water fountains installed in the 19th century that still function today. Visitors often stop beside these fountains to refill a water bottle while looking out over the calm waters of the bay. Nearby, whiskey lovers often stop at O'Loughlin's Irish Whiskey Bar, where shelves display rare Irish whiskeys and the atmosphere feels authentically local. Just next door stands an antique weighbridge that was used from the late 1800s through 1970 to weigh livestock and produce for the weekly market. Of course, one of the greatest pleasures in a fishing village like Ballyvaughan is the seafood, and many visitors enjoy a meal at Monk's Ballyvaughan, a cozy seaside inn known for serving fresh seafood caught in the surrounding waters. After dinner, a quiet walk along the harbor at sunset reveals why places like this leave such lasting impressions. Far to the southwest, another peaceful coastal settlement waits between forest and sea. The small town of Glengariff sits between the sheltered waters of Glengariff Bay and the lush woodlands of the Glengariff Woods Nature Reserve. With only a couple hundred residents, the town offers an atmosphere that feels almost untouched by time. The surrounding forest is one of the region's natural highlights, with walking trails that wind through thick green woodland and along rivers that quietly flow toward the bay. During warmer months, locals and visitors alike cool off in the Blue Pool, a secluded swimming spot hidden among the trees. From the harbor, small ferries also travel to the nearby island of Garinish Island, one of the area's most surprising attractions. Despite its small size, the island contains a beautifully designed Italian garden filled with rare plants, sculptures, and carefully landscaped terraces overlooking the bay. Back in town, visitors often stay at the historic Casey's Hotel, a welcoming property that has offered traditional Irish hospitality for generations. Along Ireland's southern coastline lies the historic fishing village of Ardmore. The name Ardmore comes from the Irish words meaning great height, which perfectly describes the town's position overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. Though fewer than 500 people live here, Ardmore carries enormous historical significance. Many historians believe it may be one of the oldest Christian settlements in Ireland, dating back even before the arrival of St. Patrick. Standing above the village is the iconic St. Declan's Round Tower, a tall stone bell tower built in the 12th century that once served as part of a monastery complex. Nearby ruins include parts of a cathedral believed to date back to the 8th century, making this small coastal village a remarkable place for history lovers. Just beyond the historic center lies Ardmore's mile-long main beach, where visitors can relax beside the sea or explore beneath the waves. Offshore waters are home to several historic shipwrecks, including the remains of the vessel Samson, which ran aground in 1987 and now rests on the ocean floor. Another hidden gem sits inland among rolling green landscapes. The town of Lismore has a population of just over 1,300 people, yet it feels like something out of a storybook. The town grew around the magnificent Lismore Castle, a dramatic stone fortress originally built in the 12th century. Though the castle has been expanded and restored over the centuries, its medieval origins remain clear as it towers above the River Blackwater. Today, the estate belongs to the family of the Duke of Devonshire, and while much of the castle remains private, parts of the grounds welcome visitors. Lismore also offers several heritage trails that guide travelers through the town's history. One popular route leads to the striking Ballysagart Moor Towers, imposing Gothic structures built in the mid-1800s that stand mysteriously within the forest. Back near the castle grounds, the Lismore Castle Arts Gallery displays contemporary artwork and creative exhibitions within this historic setting. In the west of Ireland, surrounded by forests and rivers, lies the quiet town of Tuamgraney. The town may be small, but it holds one of the most remarkable historical buildings in the country. At its center stands St. Cronan's Church, constructed sometime between the years 949 and 964. What makes the church extraordinary is that it is believed to be the oldest church in Ireland, still being used for regular services today. Nearby, the East Clare Heritage Center offers visitors a deeper look into the region's long history and traditions. Those with a sweet tooth might also enjoy a stop at the Wild Irish Chocolates Factory, where visitors can tour the facility, learn about the chocolate-making process, and sample freshly made treats. Further north along the coast lies the medieval town of Carlingford. Founded in the early 13th century, Carlingford still displays much of its medieval character. Narrow streets wind through stone buildings, and above the harbor stands the imposing ruins of King John's Castle, constructed around the time the town was founded. The landscape surrounding Carlingford is equally impressive. The dramatic peak of Slieve Foy rises nearby, offering hiking opportunities and panoramic views of the surrounding countryside. Across the water lies Carlingford Lough, a calm inlet where visitors can enjoy boat tours and sunset cruises. The town also embraces Irish folklore through the quirky attraction known as the Last Leprechauns of Ireland Caverns, where storytelling tours explore legends of Ireland's most famous mythical creatures. On Ireland's rugged west coast, the small village of Doolin captures the spirit of traditional Irish culture, perhaps better than anywhere else. With a population of only a few hundred people, Doolin has become famous for its traditional music scene. Visitors come not only for the scenery, but also for evenings spent listening to fiddles and bodrans in local pubs. One of the best places to experience this tradition is Gus O'Connor's Pub, which has welcomed travelers since 1832. The village also serves as a gateway to the famous Cliffs of Moher Coastal Walk, a spectacular trail that runs along towering sea cliffs rising nearly 700 feet above the Atlantic Ocean. Finally, along Ireland's east coast sits the seaside fishing community of Clogherhead. Located less than an hour from Dublin, the town offers a quiet coastal escape that feels worlds away from the capital city. Visitors can stroll along Clogherhead Beach, a beautiful shoreline recognized with Blue Flag status for its clean water and environmental quality. Just nearby lies Port Oriel, home to one of Ireland's most active fishing fleets. Restaurants in town often serve seafood caught only hours earlier, and many travelers stop at the Fisherman's Catch for freshly prepared local dishes while watching fishing boats return to harbor. Ireland is often described as magical, and places like these show exactly why. While famous landmarks draw millions of visitors each year, the country's smallest towns often provide the most authentic experiences. Whether it's ancient churches, medieval castles, quiet beaches, or lively pubs filled with music, these off-grid communities reveal a side of Ireland that many travelers never see. And once you've discovered them, you may realize the most unforgettable moments in Ireland rarely happen in the places everyone already knows about. If you look closely at a map of Ireland, you'll notice something fascinating. Some of the country's most extraordinary villages aren't even on the typical tourist route at all. And a few of them might be even more breathtaking than the towns on this list.